Hey, what is going on, everyone? And welcome to today's episode of What's Up Wrestler on the Nerds of Wrestling podcast. I am your host, Justin Del Rio, and my guest at this very time is the Brunette Barbie, Paris Vandale. Paris, what is going on? How are you today?
Hi, I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing extremely well. Thank you so much for coming on the show today. This is, in my opinion, extremely long overdue. I know I've been trying to get you on for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how you doing? How are things going? I feel like I'm preaching to the choir every time I ask this question. How's COVID? How is just life in general right now?
It's been going good. It does suck because we're not able to do everything that is
Yeah.
possible, like with the shows and stuff, like no crowds and stuff. But I've just been trying to keep busy, going to the gym, watching wrestling, talking
Been
to
keep There
friends.
you go. Have you been keeping up with like the current WWE, AEW, NWA just announced that they're coming back next month, so that's exciting.
Yeah, I try to keep up with as much as I can. There's so much of it, but I definitely do like I'll catch bits and pieces here and there.
Are you going to be checking out the AEW show this Sunday? This
Um,
Saturday, I think, tomorrow.
I think so. That's tomorrow?
Yeah. On March, as we are recording this, yeah, March 6th is AEW Revolution.
Okay, I'll have to check it out then.
It's gonna be crazy. I know one of the matches that are going to be happening are, if I'm not mistaken, Kenny Omega versus John Moxley in a exploding barbed wire match. Are you
Wow.
are are you a fan of those kind of like death matches or
I can take it in doses. It's not something that I can watch consistently,
right?
but I do watch here and there.
I hate to bash death matches. They are very entertaining, but fucking Christ, they are nuts. They are
Yeah.
crazy stuff. I don't know why people like it, but hey, that's them. That's them. So for the nerds who don't really know who Paris Vandale is, who is Paris Vandale? But before you tell everyone who you are, drop those plugs. Where can the nerds find you?
So you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook at the Paris Vandale.
There you go. Go check her
Yeah.
out. There you go. So who is Paris Vandale? Who is the brunette Barbie?
So Paris Vandale is definitely someone who loves attention, loves the spotlight. Some people may describe me as spoiled, but hey, it's not my fault. I always get what I want, you know?
How did the brunette Barbie become like the brunette Barbie?
So it's like a funny story actually. So I did a LPW show in February, and it was the Lucky Lottery, so it was basically like their version of the Rumble. And like halfway through, like the crowd just started like chanting, "Oh, get Barbie out, get Barbie out!" And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna run with that. If that's what
Yeah.
people see me as, might as well.
Fuck it, and look at that now, the brunette Barbie. Growing up, who were some wrestlers that you really looked up to and that you just admired?
Um, the first person that really got me hooked into wrestling was Eddie Guerrero. But then it later evolved into people like I love watching Edge, Randy Orton, Shawn Michaels, CM Punk. When the women started to become more prominent, AJ Lee, like the Four Horsewomen, Paige. So yeah.
When did you really first like getting into wrestling? Or like what era, what age?
So I started watching wrestling when I was 5, so that's 2005.
Oh my god. Woof.
It was
Shit. Wow. Oh my god, I got some years on you there. I was 10.
Yeah,
Jesus.
it was always on in my house. Like pretty
Right.
much everyone in my family is like big wrestling fans, so I didn't really have a choice.
I get so jealous every time I hear people like because I interview so many wrestlers and they always say, "Oh yeah, my whole family grew up watching it. I loved watching it with my family." Like lucky, I'm the only one who likes it in my whole family. No one else likes it. Everyone hates it. They just think it's a complete waste of time. That's their opinion. But who like other wrestlers was there like your family like who were some wrestlers your family really looked up to?
Undertaker. I think everybody loves the
Of
Undertaker.
course, Taker's the goat.
Um, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Eddie Guerrero, kind of like the people that I listed.
There you go. I mean, those are some fire names right there. Some names obviously that will live on forever. What was your first time going to like a big event that you can remember?
So I went to my first like WWE show, I believe, for my 13th or 14th birthday.
Nice.
It was like a SmackDown show at like the Dunkin' Donut Center. So I think that's like the first big one. Not really big. I want to say maybe my first big one that I went to. I went to WrestleMania
No.
um in Orlando. I forget which number it was, but it was
20.
where it was the when the Hardys returned in like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. That was 2017. Nice. That was 33. That was a good one. I
Yeah.
guess. Oh God, what a beautiful WrestleMania. That whole set was honestly, in my opinion, the best setup for any WrestleMania ever.
It was crazy.
What was your thought process like going into like that stadium for WrestleMania?
I was so excited. I went with my mom.
Right.
And we went for like a week trip, so it was like super exciting. We did Disney, Universal, and WrestleMania on top of it. So
Shit. Did you go to Raw, NXT, or SmackDown, or just WrestleMania?
no, I just went to WrestleMania. The following year though, when it was in New Orleans, I did go to like NXT and Raw and WrestleMania.
You went to that NXT. I'm so jealous. How was that?
It was really good.
Shit. I'm so a good friend of the podcast, Nerds of Wrestling, BRG, was at that same one. He said it was nuts. That is fantastic. I'm so jealous you got to see that NXT takeover. Just to see Tommaso Ciampa versus Gargano.
Yeah.
Or to see that North American title match. Like, holy shit. Like,
Yeah.
I been to a few NXT shows. Well, one takeover, one house show. But even the house show, like, the crowd is lit. Like, it is no crowd beats NXT, like, at
Yeah.
all.
The crowd's
And
crazy.
I can only imagine WrestleMania, like being at WrestleMania. You went to two WrestleManias, and I'm quite
Yes.
jealous because I never been to any WrestleManias. So, if you had to pick one, which one is your favorite?
I think the New Orleans one. Just because of the overall experience.
Right.
Like I had been to Florida before, so getting to go to New Orleans, like experience New Orleans, and then going to the WrestleMania, the NXT, and the Raw was a great time.
Yeah, that. Oh my god, I'm like so jealous about that. That's incredible. Like I said, NXT. I would love to be at the NXT show. I like seriously, so cool. But WrestleMania, in my opinion, is very long. I can only imagine being there in person. Like, I can't even imagine actually like just being there for like how long were you there? Like eight. It had to be like 8 hours.
At least it honestly it wasn't that bad. It
Right.
went by really quick just because the crowd was like really into it the whole entire time. So
Really?
like yeah,
Wow.
like I remember it was like by the time like it was from the opening match to like the end, which I think the main event was Brock Roman.
Yeah.
It was like it felt like it went by so quickly.
I'm watching it at home, and it's like what 6 o'clock the show starts.
Yeah.
I'm like dead by 9 o'clock. I'm like, okay, like
I definitely think it's a different experience from when you're watching at home to actually being there.
right. Yeah, no, I mean, I remember I was watching the next WrestleMania 35, and I think the main event was Becky Lynch, Charlotte, and Ronda. I was as soon as that match ended, I was like, okay, go to sleep because this was way too long. That's a different story for a different time. Tell us about training. What really motivated you to become a professional wrestler?
So it was always something that I wanted to do pretty much since I watched wrestling. I was like, that's what I want to do. What really like motivated and pushed me to actually become serious about like that dream was when the women started to pick up in WWE, like seeing the Sasha Bailey NXT takeover match was insane. And like from that moment, that's when I was like, I have to do this. So I signed up for like a fantasy camp in 2018. I think it was like August at the New England Pro Wrestling Academy. And a couple months later, I signed up, and that's how everything started.
I loved how you mentioned Sasha and Bailey at Takeover 2015 because, in my opinion, best women's wrestling match of all time.
Yeah.
That just me. I don't know how people, watching or listening will agree, but I definitely think 100% that is the greatest women's wrestling match of all time. It still is, even 5-6 years later. I mean, no women's
Yeah.
wrestling match has really touched Sasha and Bailey, for being honest.
I agree.
But obviously there's more to come, more wrestlers to come, and more people to do their thing. When you first stepped into the ring, what was going through your mind?
So it was definitely nerve-wracking because it's such different like experience. Like it's nothing like anybody has like I'd ever done before.
Yeah.
Um, but the fantasy camps are always super fun and super laid back. What really kind of piqued my nerves was actually signing up and going to actually start my journey because it's a lot different than like doing one fantasy camp for like
Right.
2 hours and just kind of like like goofing off to
Yeah.
like actually okay, now it's like serious.
It's that's incredible. Shout out to Pierce Austin. He says Paris, he really enjoys your work.
Thank
Uh,
you.
Shout out to Pierce. But that's incredible. Like just to step foot into the ring for the first time, like so much emotions must have been going through your mind. Like I can only imagine, like just taking your first back bump or your first. I gotta ask, what was the first thing they had you do in that ring?
We did like we did locking up. That was the first thing.
Locking up,
Um,
yeah,
yeah,
generic.
so like locking up, then we went into like you know, all the ways you get out of the ring, so like over the top backwards, forwards. I think the last thing we did was the bumping. Oh, and running the ropes. How could I forget that?
I was gonna say, wait, we're about to run the ropes. I thought I was like, wait,
Running the
she has to
ropes
say
too.
run
We
the
did that.
ropes.
Yeah, sorry. We did
It's all right.
that
It's
was
all
like
right.
the second thing. It was so much fun. I think just because I was so excited, like like the pain, I guess you could say, didn't really set in until after. But like doing it, like I felt like it was like fine.
That's incredible. I gotta ask, like, what was the hardest thing? Like you said, they had you from going over the top rope, going through the ropes.
Yeah.
What are because one of those obviously those things are very hard and very not very hard, but like kind of seem
Yeah.
scary at the first time. What was going through your mind when you had to go like get thrown over the top rope or just through the ropes?
Um, it wasn't really that scary. Like I was kind of like I'm like a very like just like kind of like fearless, like just do it type of person. So like I was just more I was like, all right, like here we go. I will say for me though, like that probably was the hardest thing for me to catch onto in the fantasy camp. Like I don't know why, like you think maybe like bumping or like
Right.
running the ropes properly, but that was like the hardest thing that I had trouble with.
I mean, to each their own. To each their
Yeah.
own. When you took your first back bump, a lot of wrestlers I hear, I talk to, they go, "Oh, when I first took that bump, I was like, yo, this is it. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life." What was that first back bump like?
Oh, I agree with every other person who said that before. Like the minute I took my first one, I was like, I need to do this again. Like
Right.
I kept on wanting to bump. Bumping is my favorite thing.
I feel like a lot of people mess up their. Correct me if I'm wrong. I could be wrong. I feel like a lot of people mess up their back bump the first time because I know for a back bump you got to fall straight on your back. Did you like fall on your butt? Like, what was it like?
Um, from what I remember, I don't think so. I think I landed properly, but I think it was more of like that snap that I was
Right.
missing. So like, it was kind of like rather than like a quick like snap back, it was kind of like tree falling down in the woods.
Just like so, like just slowly falling down.
Yeah.
That's awesome. How long after did you get booked after
Um,
your initial training? How long did it
So
take?
it took about a year for me to start doing like battle royals.
Wow.
So like I believe like my first battle royal that I did was like November 2019. I signed up September 2018. But like my first like real like I would consider like official match was March 2020. Like 3 days before the pandemic.
Damn, that's crazy. Oh my
Yeah.
god. Wow. Oh shit. And you said it took you a year just to get into the battle royal.
Yeah. Which like I'm very, very thankful. Like I know like some people that would probably be like kind of frustrating, like, oh, like why aren't I on this show yet? Or
Right.
what am I doing? But I would rather be more prepared, like
Exactly.
over prepared than under prepared. And I think you hear like so many stories about people having like horror stories of first matches or being like, my
Right.
first match was terrible, and that wasn't like the case because I was so prepared.
That's good. That's fantastic. I also hear a lot of wrestlers say, "Oh, battle royals were my first matches." I think battle royals are a very good first match, or maybe going against a trainer for your first match. That'd be something. Never
Definitely.
know. You have really kind of jump started. 2021 has been very good to you so far. And after the pandemic ended, kind of,
Yeah.
you kind of took off. Really quick before we go on to Paris Mandel, I want to make a quick announcement on who is going to be my next guest next week on the Nerds of Wrestling podcast.
Hey, it's Skillet Kate, here to let you know that I'm going to be on the Nerds of Wrestling podcast for What's Up Wrestler on March 11th. So make sure to mark your calendars down and get ready to tune in. I'll see y'all there.
That is right. Killa K is making her way to the Nerds of Wrestling podcast for What's Up Wrestler next Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern on Facebook Live, where all podcasts can be heard. I am here with the Brunette Barbie, Paris Vandale. Paris, we were talking about coronavirus was really shitty for all of us. And then after it ended, it kind of seemed like Paris Vandale and Armani Chaos were taking off. Like, who, well, first of all, who is Armani Chaos? And I know Armani Chaos, but who is the Higher Society?
So Armani Chaos is my tag partner. We are together known as Higher Society, but he's not just my tag partner, he's my best friend. And I think we get along so well because our personality and our styles are very similar.
Armani Chaos is one hell of a wrestler, man. I had Armani Chaos. For those who are listening, should know I had Armani Chaos on last season for What's Up Wrestler. Definitely go check Armani Chaos out. That kid is he's going places, and I feel like with Paris Vandale, you guys are both going to be going places. You guys were doing a lot of work on the road for Limitless Wrestling. Was that your first time pairing up together?
So we had done like that was our first time like actually like tagging and wrestling with each other. We had done like spots of like where like he valeted me or I valeted him, but like first time actually like being a tag and wrestling, yes.
What was it like to finally be able to tag team with Armani?
It was super, super exciting because that was something we had talked about probably for like the longest time before it actually happened. Like before we were even ready to get on shows, we were like, we should be a tag team. We need to be a tag team. We're Higher Society. And
Right.
like, so to actually like do it was like super surreal.
That's incredible. And I know you guys have a YouTube channel too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, we're trying to get more active on it. We've been sort of slacking, but there will be more Higher Society content coming soon.
I mean, you guys have been really busy with everything. You guys have been booked at Limitless. You guys have been booked at Chaotic.
Yes.
What has Limitless is obviously, like, in my opinion, one of the best promotions out there next to Northeast Wrestling and Chaotic, all three. What was it like to really wrestle in Chaotic for the first time? Was that your first time?
Yes. So I was not actually wrestling on the Chaotic Reloaded season 1. I was valeting
Oh,
Armani
right.
because I was overcoming like I had like a knee injury.
Oh,
So like I was still able to be a part of the show,
right.
thankfully. It was super, super exciting because like that is basically our home promotion because Chaotic and New England Pro Wrestling Academy are so closely affiliated with each other. And for a while we were kind of like, ooh, like I wonder when we're gonna get on Chaotic, and we were kind of like, oh, like maybe it's gonna be a little bit, but then, as soon as and then, right away
Yeah.
I was like, hey, we're doing this Chaotic Reloaded Twitch thing and we want you guys to be part of it. So
That's incredible. But what was going through your guys' mind when you got the call or the text message to be a part of it?
we were definitely keeping it cool on the outside, but we were freaking out on the inside.
Yeah, Chaotic is amazing. It is so amazing. Before you started training and everything, did you hear about all these promotions? Did you hear about Limitless? Did you hear about Northeast Wrestling? Did you were you a big independent? Excuse me, a big independent wrestling fan?
So to be honest, not really. I didn't really start getting familiar with like the independent scene until I started training. I was aware of Chaotic before. That was probably like the only one that I was kind of aware of. I went to one Chaotic show in like 2017, but like besides that, like not really.
Like we said in the beginning of the podcast, there's so much wrestling out there. I mean, if you never heard of independent wrestling, that's okay. I mean, a lot of people haven't heard about independent wrestling before they started training, and then they go, okay, now they heard of it. No, which is kind of crazy to think. You'll think all these people heard of independent wrestling their whole lives. Like, no, I mean that's not really the case. I mean, some of them just found out about it, like when they started training, which
Yeah.
is okay. Nothing wrong with that. Not that at all. Where do you see the higher society in 2021?
I want us to wrestle everywhere, anywhere, and anyone who wants higher society.
I love it. I love it. What are some promotions that you guys have not been a part of, but you really, really want to wrestle?
I think Blitzkrieg is
Yep.
one. I'd like for us to actually like get on to like a full-blown like limitless card.
Yeah.
Because right now we're kind of like on the road, but we haven't gotten to like that next step. I'd love for us to do like some tag stuff on Chaotic because we haven't really tagged yet. It's just sort of been Armani with me like as his backup.
Right.
Camp Leapfrog, they're like killing it. I like to like wrestle outside of New England, but like I said, anywhere and everywhere.
Yeah, like we said, there's so much wrestling out there and everything. It blows my mind the amount of wrestling that we have. I'm surprised you haven't said Northeast Wrestling.
How could I forget? Oh my god, there's so much. Yeah, Northeast Wrestling too. That's a big one.
A lot of people forget Northeast Wrestling. I'm like, hey, how about Northeast Wrestling? Like, how could you forget about that?
I think like I don't know. I think maybe it's because they don't have a lot of like women. So yeah, maybe that's why like it like slipped my mind. But yeah, definitely.
Which really kind of makes me mad that there's not that many, like there's all these female wrestlers out there in New England, like Northeast Wrestling. Come on, book them. Like, what are you waiting for? Book them. Like, we're waiting for them. Come on. I haven't been to an NEW show in over a year. I am so sad about that. I think that this is the longest time I've ever been out with the Northeast Wrestling show in like 4 years. So I'm like dying with that one. I need to go.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's nuts. So who is Paris Vandale outside of wrestling? Throw some shows out there for Netflix. Are you a Netflix watcher?
So kind of this is probably people are gonna hate this answer. I watch a lot of reality shows.
Oh god.
But are you surprised? I mean,
I'm not surprised actually.
Yeah.
No.
A lot of reality shows. I watch like Law and Order, but like mainly like reality shows, like Keeping Up with the Kardashians, Total Divas.
Right. Keeping up, of course. Have you always been a fan of those shows?
Yeah.
What really got you hooked into those reality shows?
I don't know. I think it's just all the drama. It's so entertaining to watch. I think like the first reality show that I saw was like Jersey Shore, and I probably shouldn't have been watching it at like 8 years old, but I did.
Oh god. I remember when Jersey Shore first came out. I think I was a junior in high school, I think. And everyone's talking about Jersey Shore. I'm like, what is Jersey Shore? Like, what is that? Like, everybody and their mother were talking about Jersey Shore. I was like, I legit thought like that show was brainwashing people. Like, it's this?
It's so chaotic and it's incredible. I rewatched it over like quarantine because it's on Hulu and it still holds up. It still holds up.
Have you ever watched like a show that you were a fan of, like, a Jersey Shore aside, like that you were a fan of like way back, and then you watched it now and you're like, why did I like this?
Not really.
No, really?
I did. So I'm also gonna get a lot of hate for this. I did try to watch The Office. And I hated it. I watched like the first 2 episodes and I was like, this is dumb.
My flagship is gonna go way down just because you said that. Just because Paris Vandale said she hates The Office. Down. No, I'm kidding. You got to watch more than just the first season, Paris. Come on.
But here's the thing, though. This is why I feel like I shouldn't need to watch. Like everybody always says it. Oh, it gets better. It gets better. Like in the second season.
It
Well, why
does.
should I have to sit through a whole season that I'm not interested in, only for like me to potentially not like it?
I'm just gonna say this one time. Hopefully, the people will agree with me. I think The Office, the first season, has like 10 episodes, if I'm not mistaken. You don't have to watch all those episodes. They really just random. I think because I watched something on YouTube about The Office, and the guy was like, they were trying to portray the first season as the British version, which failed miserably. And then after the second season came out, they did it on their own. So just don't even watch the first season. Don't just forget
All
about
right.
it. Just start with season 2 and then watch it all the way down. Because season 1, and everybody will agree, is the absolute worst fucking season of The Office. I hate the first season, but I love The Office. But you don't have to. Don't watch the
I'll
first season.
maybe I'll give it a second chance. They've been like showing it on like MTV as of recently, which is like weird, but like yeah, like I'll wake up and it's like on MTV and I'm like, oh, this is okay.
Like at like 3 o'clock in the morning, The Office is on. Like, why is this on?
Yeah, I was like, I'm like, okay, sure.
They have it on Peacock too.
Okay.
Check it out on Peacock. Well, speaking of Peacock, did you hear about WWE is moving over to Peacock?
I did, but like I'm still kind of confused about the whole like thing.
Me too.
But
Me too.
yay, like I'm excited, sure.
So I think I asked a few people like a couple of days ago. They're like, oh, I'm like, when is it going to Peacock? They go, I think it's for WrestleMania. So WrestleMania is going to be the first pay-per-view.
I heard Fastlane. That's what I heard. But I don't know.
I heard Fastlane too, but they said you could also watch it on the network because the network will still be around. But you can watch it on the Peacock if you want, but the network will still be there. But after WrestleMania, the Peacock is no longer. Sorry, the network is no longer a thing at all.
Oh, okay.
Which sucks. I was like wondering, like, how are they gonna do that? Like, you have Hulu, you said, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, are they gonna do it like Hulu and HBO Max or like Showtime, where you go on Hulu, and you go all the way down to the bottom and you click on HBO instead of bring you to HBO? Are they gonna do it like that for the WWE Network?
Guess we'll have to see.
I guess we'll have to see. Do you know how many members the WWE Network has? It's so sad.
No, not at all.
2 million.
This is 2 million.
2 million. I think it launched in 2014.
I think so.
In this 2021, and they only have 2 million subscribers. That is sad.
You know what? Not everybody. So here's the thing. Not everybody is like who watches wrestling is like so it's like they're kind of like if you're only watching the weekly Raws and the SmackDowns and you're not really into learning the rest and watching the rest of wrestling, it's like, why watch it? Or why get it? Not watch it, but why get the network?
True. I just wonder why WWE kept that platform for so long when they couldn't move somewhere else. But I literally think they just surpassed 2 million like last year, which is terrible, which is absolutely crazy. Like,
what can you do?
What can we do? On to the next question. During quarantine, you said you were watching a lot of Jersey Shore, and you didn't like The Office. Were you watching any wrestling? Keeping up with discovering any new wrestling promotions or discovering any new wrestlers in the indie scene?
I watch a lot of like IWTV. I don't know. Like I don't want to I don't think I discovered anybody new because I don't know. But I did watch a lot of wrestling. I watched, even though I was on it, I watched The Road like weekly.
Right.
I watched a lot of like YouTube matches, old wrestling. People are gonna hate me for this answer too. I watched like Divas wrestling because that's my guilty pleasure.
Right.
Total Divas is a branch of. Do you consider that being like affiliated with wrestling? I watched that again.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Who were some divas that really caught your attention? I know you said AJ Lee and you said Lita, if I'm not mistaken, in the beginning. Anybody else that really caught your attention? Like old school?
This will probably not be a surprise to anyone, but really big fan of LayCool. Big fan of
Really?
LayCool. Yes.
Wow.
LayCool, Melina.
Right, yep.
Maurice, Eve Torres. I love the Divas.
Lay Cool. Wow, I've never heard that. Wow,
They're incredible.
what really drew you to Lay Cool? I
They're
guess.
just they're so funny.
I
They're
guess
so
they're
funny.
incredible.
Me and Armani watch their promos like every other day and just laugh because it's so entertaining to us.
Do you think they would go over in like today's wrestling?
Here's the thing. I think a lot of people give, discredit the divas, but they don't realize that like they weren't actually trained. Like
Oh, I know.
they were trained to pull hair and trained to do all of the divas stuff. So it's like you can't blame the divas for not
Right.
knowing how to wrestle. Like if you watch you watch some of the stuff like Michelle McCool and like Nikki Bella, they weren't, and Layla Eve, they weren't terrible.
No.
They weren't like they had some decent moves to them. So imagine how much better they would have been if they came up in a time like now where they had the performance center and they actually did take the women seriously.
You know who I really think would go over today? She was over way back in 2014, 2013 when she was there. AJ Lee. I miss AJ Lee. Sorry, weird segue by the way, but AJ Lee, I think AJ Lee would have some absolute bangers right now with to Sasha Banks, Bailey, Rhea Ripley, Charlotte.
Definitely.
I miss AJ Lee. I miss her so much. I don't know how you were, you thought about AJ Lee, but bruh,
I liked her. I really liked her.
What were some matches that were like that you really drawn to AJ Lee?
I think her match with Caitlyn at Payback,
Yes.
I really liked that one. I think from what I remember, that was like the first like I guess like Divas match that like went as long as it did like for that era.
Really?
On like pay-per-view. Yeah, it was like 2013. So like on main roster, like the matches were only going like 4 minutes.
Like 3 minutes. Yeah, if
and
that.
I'm pretty sure it went like something like 10 to 12.
Wow.
On like a Payback, which was like crazy. I think she was such a good, not only she was good in the ring, but I think she was a very good character. Like no matter what she did, she always was able to get like the crowd's reaction, which I think that's what makes a great wrestler.
Do you see AJ Lee going back to wrestling at all in the near future?
Never say never. I read her book, but apparently she walked away because of her neck. She had neck injury. That's what she said in her book. She had like neck and spine issues. So
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, wrestling is very dangerous, and there are going to be those kind of injuries out there, which is unfortunate. I would love to see AJ Lee back in the ring, like I said, especially with these women today. Sasha Banks, Bailey, Rhea Ripley, Charlotte.
Ugh. What's your issue? I love Charlotte. I think she's great.
Bruh, what? No, I mean, okay, so she's a phenomenal wrestler. She's great, but I just don't like how she's being pushed down our fucking throats. I heard that she wants to wrestle Asuka for the goddamn title at WrestleMania.
Well, like,
why?
Here's the thing, though. Like, that's not. She has no control over.
I know that, but
so it's like
to me,
I don't know. I think that like narrative. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion, but I think for people to be like, I hate Charlotte because she's every single week she's got like freaking 27,000 championship reigns and she's only been wrestling for like 4 years. But it's like, what is she gonna say? No, like, no, I don't want that championship.
Of course, I mean, we all know she's doing it because of Rick. Her dad's Rick.
I'm not gonna say no. So like, she's a great wrestler. She's a great promo.
She is.
Why wouldn't she has a great look? Why wouldn't they push her? And she has the history, like that name. Why wouldn't they push her?
But you gotta push these other women, dude. You gotta push other people. Come on, like give other people a time, give other people a turn. Speaking of other people a turn and other people a time, what were your thoughts on The Miz winning the title?
I love The Miz.
Me too.
So I'm very happy that Bobby Lashley has the title now, but I wish they would have given Miz a little bit longer. I think Bobby Lashley holding the title, I think it's been a very long time coming for him, and he definitely deserves to hold that title. But I love The Miz. He's so entertaining.
So I love The Miz as well. I really became a big fan of The Miz in like 2016, 2015. Around that time when he held the IC title. That was my favorite time of the Miz. I was like, bro, like I love the
Yeah.
Miz. I love the Miz. Like he's one of my favorite wrestlers till this day. Like you said, I completely agree. I wish they gave the Miz a little bit longer. I'm not asking for a 6-month reign. I'm not asking for a year. I'm asking maybe like 2 months. My prediction was he was gonna lose at Mania to Lashley. I was like, okay, he's gonna hold it to Mania, and then Lashley's gonna beat him for the title. That's what's gonna. Nope. They have to have Lashley win on Raw. I'm like, why? Why? I mean, like I said, I love Lashley, big Bobby Lashley fan, but it should have happened at Mania, in my opinion.
I could see that. I don't know. I'm just maybe thinking, I don't really know if Miz versus Bobby Lashley is a big like headline. I don't know.
But that's why maybe like you throw McIntyre in there for a triple threat.
Okay, yeah.
You know
I'm very happy though. I'm very happy that Bobby Lashley won though. I think he's been doing really, really great.
Oh, he's been doing fantastic with the Hurt Business and MVP. Like they're all doing fantastic. I think the rumor is going to be Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania.
I'm here for that.
Now, what's going to happen if Brock Lesnar faces Bobby Lashley?
Guess we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I guess I'll wait and see because I don't know. I hate to say it, but I'm not going to say it. I think a lot of nerds who are listening know what will happen and they don't want to happen. But we'll see until WrestleMania. And yeah, Paris, this has been so much fun. Thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you.
Hopefully I didn't disappoint. Again, drop those plugs. Where can the nerds find you?
So make sure to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at the Paris Van Dale. Go like my Facebook page, which is just Paris Van Dale. Make sure you watch The Road every Wednesday on IWTV at 7 p.m. And go subscribe to Chaotic's Twitch channel. Season 1 just wrapped up last night, but Season 2 will be dropping 2 weeks from now at 8 p.m. on Thursdays.
There you go, nerds. Go check out Paris Van Dale, Chaotic, and Limitless Wrestling. This has been an episode of What's Up Wrestler, a podcast by Nerds of Wrestling. Peace out.